Good afternoon. Today I'm going to talk about the movie SULLY, which is a biopic. So first of all, I'm going to start with a short introduction about the movie. Then I'm going to compare the real-life events with the events that happened in the movie. After that, I'm going to try to explain the choices and the purpose of the director by changing the truth. And finally, I'm going to give my opinion about the movie. So first of all, the movie SULLY was released in 2016, and it was directed by Clint Eastwood and written by Todd Komarnicki. The story of the movie is about an American pilot called Chesley Sullenberger, or also known as Sully, who became a hero after unexpectedly water landing his damaged plane on the Hudson River in order to save all of the passengers and the crew on board. The plane was damaged due to bird strikes, therefore taking out both engines. However, even though many people considered Sully as an icon and a hero, an investigation that threatened his career and reputation was opened because the National Transportation Safety Board, or the NTSB, claimed that the plane could have safely made it back to an airport. So the main character in the movie is Chesley Sullenberger, who is a captain and who is played by Tom Hanks. Then we have the actor Aaron Eckhart, who acts as Jeff Skiles, who is the first officer. Then Sully's wife is played by Laura Linney. And finally, Mike O'Malley plays Charles Porter, who is the lead investigator of the NTSB. The movie Sully is known to be pretty accurate and to stay true to many facts and details of the real story. For example, Sullenberger did actually suffer from PTSD, insomnia, and flashbacks, as we could see with Sully in the movie. The dialogue between Sully and his co-pilots is also accurate, matching cockpit recording transcripts that came out after the emergency landing. In addition, some rescuers who were actually on the scene of the 2009 landing in real life were hired to recreate the scene. In fact, most actors hired for the filmmaking were all part of the real-life incident and investigation, except for the investigators of the NTSB. The sole and biggest difference between what happened in real life and in the movie is probably the investigation. The film actually portrays more the investigators as prosecutors looking for any excuse to blame Sullenberger for his mistakes, rather than normal investigators professionally doing their job. In 2016, the NTSB complained that it had been painted in the wrong light in the film, and Robert Benson, the investigator in charge of the Sullenberger's actual hearing, said, "We are not the KGB, we are not the Gestapo. We weren't out to embarrass anybody at all." The NTSB investigators were therefore painted as the bad guys of the story. Tom Hanks also said, "These people are not prosecutors. They are doing a very important job, and if, for editorial purposes, we want to make it more of a prosecutorial process, it isn't fair to them." Furthermore, Hanks said that Sullenberger was so disturbed by the fictionalized version of the investigators, used as antagonists and the villains of the story, that he requested that the real names of the NTSB investigators must be changed and removed from the characters. Moreover, the NTSB was never consulted or even contacted by anyone connected with the film. In conclusion, the real-life investigators were not as harsh and cruel as it seems to be in the movie, and there is no one named Charles Porter at the NTSB, nor Ben Edwards, nor Elizabeth Davis, who are all fake characters. I think that the director chose to change the investigation because it is the main focus of the film. Since the whole movie is based on a true story, most of the facts were already well known. The flight itself lasted only 4 minutes, from the takeoff from LaGuardia Airport to the unfortunate incident, and the evacuation lasted less than half an hour. Therefore, by keeping the exact same story, the movie would have been quite boring. The director of the movie admitted that he needed a villain in order to make the movie more interesting. Since the actual story didn't have any drama, they made one up, in true Hollywood cinematic fashion. So, they made up a whole team of fictional investigators whose purpose was to prosecute the pilots in order to dramatize the movie and make it captivating. In my opinion, Sully is a really great movie because it shows that no matter how good you do in life and how much you succeed, some people are always going to try and bring you down and find flaws where there aren't any. Watching this movie was a real cinematic experience for me. I felt like I was actually going through the flight and Sully's investigation.